Hello and very welcome everyone to this session of Ancient History Part 2. In today's session, we are going to discuss the topic that we need to cover in ancient history, and the question will be asked in your upcoming exams. In last session, we were discussing about that how the history was needed to be recorded and how it was started, and now we will see some significant things that we need to understand regarding the history. So let's start our session. Before we start, the images, text, and other materials used in our presentations are for educational purpose only. We respect the intellectual property rights of the original creators and owners. If you are the owners and have any concerns or issues, please contact us at sathi@iitk.ac.in and we shall remove the same. Okay, so first thing that we have with us is the main characteristics of the Paleolithic age. So I hope you remember in the last session we discussed about the difference of different type of ages, and now we need to discuss some of their characteristics. So we have today is the Paleolithic period. We will discuss about the notable features and some important sites in India. So first of all, we are going to discuss about the Lower Paleolithic. So the Lower Paleolithic age in India is characterized by the emergence of early stone tool industries such as the stone culture and Acheulean industry. So Acheulean industry is basically a type of the stones that were created, and stone culture basically defines the type of stones that have been discovered in the Shivalik ranges and in the Son Valley, basically in the Himalayan regions, and the type of stones that are discovered. On the basis of that, these names are given: the Son culture and the Acheulean industries. These industries represents the earliest known human tool making techniques. Hominins crafted simple tools including hand axes and cleavers for various purposes like hunting, butchering animals, processing plants, and shaping materials. So you must have seen the earlier stones that were used by these people, by these Paleolithic people, and they are but basically found out of sharpening the stones at that time. So according to the shapes and size and according to the sharpness and the areas they are found, they have been given the names. So that is why the names are given: stone culture and Acheulean industry. Then we need to talk about the important sites from where we have discovered these. So first one is located in Madhya Pradesh, that is in Bhimbetka, is a UNESCO World Heritage Site known for its extensive rock shelters containing rock paintings dating back to the lower Paleolithic period. Then another one is the Atiram Pakam, situated in Tamil Nadu, and Atiram Pakam is an important archaeological site revealing Acheulean tools and evidence of early human habitation dating back to around 1.5 million years ago. And apart from that, do remember that these are the particular type of stones, and on the basis of that, these ages are being defined. Then let's read further more about it. So another one is the Middle Paleolithic, and the Middle Paleolithic age in India is associated with the Middle Paleolithic culture, characterized by the presence of levallois technology and the use of fire by early hominins. This period witnessed advancement in stone tool technology and the presence of archaic Homo sapiens and Neanderthals. Neanderthals is a type of Homo sapiens that were found in the regions of today's Germany, and Homo sapiens are basically the name given to the particular humanity that are found in the areas of Central Asia and in Tibetan region. And here in the Middle Paleolithic age, the fire was discovered, and that is because the name is given here. And Bhimbetka, in addition to its lower Paleolithic significance, Bhimbetka also contains Middle Paleolithic archaeological deposits. And Jwalapuram, situated in Andhra Pradesh, Jwalapuram is an archaeological site with Middle Paleolithic artifacts, including stone tools and fossils. So these are some of the different type of sites that are related to the Middle Paleolithic age. Then let's move further once again. Then comes the Upper Paleolithic era, and in case of Upper Paleolithic age in India marks significant cultural advancements, including the emergence of advanced stone tools industries, Blade technologies, bagged tools, and microliths became prevalent during this period. This period also witnessed the development of symbolic and artistic expressions, as seen in the production of intricate cave art and personal adornments. Homo sapiens became the dominant hominin species during this time. And examples related to the sites are Bagor and located in Rajasthan. Bagor is an important upper Paleolithic site with stone tools, pottery, animal bones, and evidence of early plant cultivation. Then Patne, that is situated in Maharashtra, and Patne is an archaeological site revealing Upper Paleolithic stone tools, bones, artifacts, and animal remains. So this is the Upper Paleolithic era, and in this particular era, the advancement of tools happened, and other than that, the cave art was also became an important part of it, and particularly if we talk about the Homo sapiens, so they prevail, and all the other type of humanity or human tribals at that time were started vanishing like Neanderthals. Now let's read about the Mesolithic period, that is the Middle Stone Age. So in the Mesolithic is formed from two Greek words, the Meso and the Lithic. Meso means the middle in Greek, and while Lithic implies a stone. As a result, the Mesolithic period of prehistory is often known as the Middle Stone Age. So if we talk about let's understand this thing in a way. So basically at the starting of the Paleolithic era, the particular humans that are particularly transforming from apes were getting to know a lot of things in their neighborhood and in their surroundings, and they started becoming curious regarding everything. But at that time, the only thing that they knew was to create the things out of their stones, and butchering the animals and all these type of things were prevailing at that time. Then they started to know about the fire, and they started using fire as well. That is basically the Middle Paleolithic era. And after that comes the Upper Paleolithic era, in which they started discovering some other things as well. And now they are entering into the Mesolithic era, in which particularly they also started becoming more curious, and they started to knowing the surroundings very well and what type of things can be done in their surroundings. So Holocene era includes both the Mesolithic and Neolithic stages. There was an increase in temperature throughout this time period, and the environment got warmer, resulting in the melting of glaciers and changes in the flora and fauna. So over the period of time, the vegetation was also being changed, and the type of climate was also being changed, and that can be seen in the type of floras and faunas discovered from that time. Now the characteristic features of the Mesolithic era. Initially, humans of this era subsisted on hunting, fishing, and food collection, but they subsequently tamed animals and cultivated plants, opening the path for agriculture. So I hope you are understanding that now they are getting into a more modified form, and they are able to understand that what type of things they are doing at that time, and how can they tame the animals and like domesticating them, and also a little bit about agriculture also. The first animal to be domesticated was the wild ancestor of the dog. Sheep and goats were the most common domesticated animals. So this is a common thing that we can understand and we can imagine, that dogs also wanted to be with humans at that time so that they can feel secure and they can get food. And apart from that, sheep and goats, they also get to know that how they can have the wool from sheep and how they can have different use of goats as well. So for that purpose, they have started domesticating them. The Mesolithic people lived in semi-permanent communities as well as caves and open areas. So it is also the things that were started at this age, that they started living in caves or open areas and also in a semi-permanent communities. Earlier they was always wandering all around, always keep wandering all around with their community, but now they started remaining in one particular area. The people of this era believed in life after death, and hence they buried the dead with food items and other goods. So this is the time when they started burying their loved ones, and also they also put some food and items and other goods so that they can use it after life. Now let's read more further. So microliths were the defining tools of this epoch. Epoch, era, period. These are the terms that are used to define different type of timelines. Okay, so do remember that. Being small stone tools formed by of cryptocrystalline silica, chalcedony or kurt in both geometrical and non-geometrical forms. They were not only used as tools but were also used to make composite tools, spearheads, arrowheads, and sickles, after hafting them on wooden or bone handles. These microliths enable the Mesolithic man to hunt smaller animals and birds. So this is the time that they started creating more accurate tools, I would say, and these tools are basically being put with an arrowheads so that they can particularly use them along with the bone handles so that they can particularly kill the smaller animals and birds for their um, food purpose. The Mesolithic man started to wear clothes made of animal skin, that we already know because they started domesticating the animals like sheep and goat, and also after killing some particular animals for their food, they also kept their skins to wear them. So Mesolithic people were art enthusiasts who pioneered rock art. So the Mesolithic people were art enthusiasts who pioneered rock art. The subject matter of these paintings was largely wild creatures, although hunting scenes, dance, and food gathering were also shown. These rock drawings provide insight into the evolution of religious practices while also reflecting the gendered distribution of employment. So basically, some evidences of paintings in which the paintings they are seen to be hunting, dancing, and food gathering. All these type of things are being shown in their paintings. So we get to know a lot about different type of things that were starting at that time, and it also reflecting the gender distribution of the employment at that time also. The first human colonization of the Ganga plains happened during this period. Now let's read more further. Bagaur in Rajasthan is one of India's largest and best documented Mesolithic sites. Bagaur is located on the Kothari River, where microliths, animal bones, and shells have been discovered. So, do remember that Bagaur is one of the site where the microliths, animal bones, and have been discovered, and the best documented Mesolithic site. Adamgarh in Madhya Pradesh provides the earliest evidence of the domestication of animals. Madhya Pradesh also represents the first evidence of Bhimbetka, that is Paleolithic era, and now also for Mesolithic era. There are around 150 Mesolithic rock art sites in India, with a high concentration in central India, including the Bhimbetka caves in Madhya Pradesh, Kharwar, Jaora, and Khatotia in Madhya Pradesh, Sundargarh and Sambalpur in Odisha, and Izuthu Guha in Kerala. So these are some of the discovered Mesolithic rock sites in India that have been discovered so far. Then microliths have also been found in some valleys of rivers Tapi, Sabarmati, Narmada, and Mahi. So further, some of the evidences have also been discovered from these particular river valleys. Now some more important Mesolithic sites. So important Mesolithic sites include Langhanaj in Gujarat and Behranpur in West Bengal. Wild animal bones, rhinoceros, black buck, etc. have been discovered at Langhanaj. These sites have yielded many humans, skeletons, and a considerable quantity of microliths. Though pottery is absent at most Mesolithic sites, they have been found in Langhanaj, Gujarat, and in the Kaimur region of Mirzapur, Uttar Pradesh. So pottery making was not very common in all the sites, but in some of the sites it has been discovered that they are particularly using the potteries to create their particular things. Now let's talk about the tool types and technology. So microliths are the predominant and the most common tool types of this cultural phase. Basically, microliths are basically formed out of stones and they are basically used for different type of tool making, and those tools are basically used for different purposes. Microliths are described in terms of geometry and non-geometric shapes. Here you can see some of them. These are particularly used for different purposes at that time, and they are all made of stones by cutting them. Geometric ones are types such as trapeze, triangle, lunate, or crescent. And the non-geometric types are named by the nature of blunting of the back, such as partly, fully, or obliquely blunted blades, or after their functions such as scraper, point, knife, blade, awl, burin, and borer. So we can understand from this that they were started getting to know a lot of things, and they all were using all these different type of tools so that particularly they can use it for different purpose, like when they are particularly eating their food and they need to skin out the skin of animals, so they would be using the blades. When they are hunting the small animals, they would be using the larger rocks that you can see in the first shelf. So all these rocks have different purposes at that time. That is why they built different type of rocks for particular use. These were used as composite tools for planting, gathering, harvesting, slicing, grating, plant fiber processing, and all the other objectives, as I was saying. So all have different purposes at that time, and for different purpose, every different stone was there. Another type of tool used by the Mesolithic people is called a macrolith. Now let's read more about it. These were bigger than microliths and were a continuation of the upper Paleolithic types such as the scrapers. These are considered as heavy duty tools. Bone and antler tools are yet another category of tools used by the Mesolithic people at that time. And now let's read about the Neolithic period, a new Stone Age. I already told you that Indus Valley civilization was a Neolithic period civilization, and it belongs to Bronze Age, and also it was an urban civilization. So let's talk about the Neolithic, and I hope with this example you get to know that what is Neolithic age. So Neolithic age is the time when they started becoming civilization, and later in this Neolithic age they also started to becoming a urban city. So the name Neolithic is derived from the Greek words neo, that is new, and lithic, that is stone. As a result, the name Neolithic age alludes to the new Stone Age. It is also known as the Neolithic Revolution because it brought about many significant improvements in man's social and economic existence. Man evolved from a food gatherer to a food producer throughout the Neolithic period, as I was saying. So basically, during this time, the agricultural process was also modified. The particular people or humans at that time who were living, they started becoming more as a natural civilization, or particularly a civilization than a natural human. And food gathering, in place of food gathering, they started producing the food. And apart from that, now they are not only depending upon the animals and gathering the food out of them, or the skins that are particularly of animals they used to wear, but they also started having their own particular producing cottons and other things so that they can produce their own clothes at that time. Now the characteristic feature of the Neolithic age. So tools and weapons, especially in addition to polished stone tools, the inhabitants employed microliths blade, as we were discussing earlier. Celts were notably essential for grinding, and polished hand axes. So basically now still they are using the blades, the axes and other things, but now they are found to be more polished and more accurate and can be used in a better way. They also employed bone tools and weaponry like as needles, scrapers, borers, arrowheads, and so on. The adoption of new polished tools improved humans' ability to grow, hunt, and undertake other tasks. Agriculture: the people of Neolithic age cultivated land and grew fruits and corn like ragi and horse gram, that is kulati. They also domesticated cattle, sheep, and goats. So these are the modification done in the field of agriculture, and all these things are being grown and domestication of animals was done. Let's read more. So pottery. With the introduction of agriculture, humans were needed to store their food grains in addition to cooking and eating the produce. That is why it is stated that pottery appeared on a wide scale during this period. The pottery of this period was classified under grey ware, black burnished ware, and matte impressed ware. In the initial stages of the Neolithic age, handmade pottery was made, but later on, foot wheels were used to make pots. So they also started particularly creating the potteries, and apart from that, these are being used to store the food grains and addition of cooking and eating the produce. And apart from that, the pottery was also classified on the different type of things like the grey ware, black burnished ware, matte impressed ware. And initially in the stages of Neolithic age, the handmade potteries were prevailing. But later on, the foot wheels were also used to make pots. That is the type of wheel that is rotating and on which the pots are making. So that type of technology was being used. Earlier, they used to make them with their bare hands. Now, the housing and settled life. The people of the Neolithic age lived in rectangular or circular houses, which were made of muds and reeds. Neolithic man could also build boats and spin cotton, wool, and weave textiles. The Neolithic people lived a more stable life and prepared the groundwork for the emergence of civilization. So all this was being done, and the housing and settled life was being started to be created. That is why I said earlier that the Indus Valley civilization was belonging to the Neolithic age. And also remember one more point, that particularly these people are creating this thing that they started having their own house and they started being a civilization. That is why they also started becoming an urban civilization later. Let's read more on this. The Neolithic inhabitants did not dwell far from mountainous terrain. They lived mostly in mountainous rivers, valley, rock shelters, and hill slopes, since they were fully reliant on stone weapons and tools. So this is the early phase when they were still remaining in the mountainous rivers, hills, shelters, valleys, and still relying on the stones and weapons. That is why the inhabitants did not want to move away from the mountains. Now some important Neolithic sites. So first is the Koldi Hawa and Mahagad. So do remember, these are the two prominent Neolithic sites way before Indus Valley civilization, and they are lying south of Prayagraj, that is Uttar Pradesh. The site has traces of circular huts as well as rudimentary handicraft ceramics. There is also evidence of rice, which is the oldest evidence of rice found anywhere in the globe, not only in India. Then Mehergarh, that is Baluchistan, Pakistan, the oldest Neolithic settlement where people lived in homes made of sun-dried bricks and grew crops such as cotton and wheat. So you can see clearly that still they were using the sun-dried bricks and not burnt bricks was prevailing, as this burnt brick system and urban civilization became later part of Neolithic age. And particularly they used started living in homes. Then Burzahom in Kashmir. So domestic dogs were buried beside their owners in their tombs. Humans lived in pits and utilized polished stones and bone implements. So these are some other rituals that were happening at that time, and the evidence of humans living in pit was also found. Then Guf Kral in Kashmir. So this Neolithic site is known for pit dwelling and stone tools and house graveyards. So house graveyards is a very important thing that was found in Kashmir. And Chirand. Chirand, that is in Bihar, the Neolithic man used tools and weapons made of bones. So these are some other type of Neolithic sites that were discovered. Do remember, this is the most important point, that evidence of rice have been discovered firstly in these areas of Prayagraj region. Then let's move towards some other particular sites also. So Piklihal, Brahmgiri, Maski, Takla, Kota, Halur, Karnataka. The people were cattle herders. They domesticated sheep and goats. Ash mounds have been found. Belan Valley, which is located on the northern spurs of the Vindhyas and middle part of Narmada Valley. All the three phases, that is Paleolithic, Mesolithic, and Neolithic ages, are found in the sequence. Now let's talk about the Chalcolithic age, that is the stone copper age. Means this is the time when the copper was discovered and humans started using copper for making utensils, tools, weapons, and other things. So Chalcolithic age saw the introduction of metal tools alongside stone implements, and copper was the first metal utilized. So do remember that copper was the first metal, you can say, was discovered by humans. The Chalcolithic period was generally associated with the pre-Harappan period, but it emerges in many regions of the nation following the end of the Bronze Harappan culture. Okay, so I hope this point is clear, that this is now the time when they started discovering metals and the copper was discovered, and now is the time that is called the pre-Harappan period, and soon it will emerge in most of the regions by the end of the Bronze Harappan culture. Now some characteristics of the Chalcolithic age. So agriculture and cattle rearing. During the stone copper period, mankind tamed animals and produced food crops. They raised cattle, sheep, goats, pigs, and buffaloes, and hunted deer. It is unclear if they were familiar with the horse or not. People ate beef but not pig in significant quantities. The people of the Chalcolithic phase produced wheat and rice. They also cultivated bajra. So you can clearly see that now they are started taming the animals more, and food crops are being produced in more numbers, and basically they started raising the animals as well for eating purpose and other purpose as well. And one thing is not known, that if they knew about horses or not, and they used to eat beef but not pigs. But some of the other cultivations that were also found at that time in the Chalcolithic age are like wheat, rice, and bajra. They also produce several pulses such as lentils, masoor, black gram, green gram, and grass pea. Cotton was grown in the black cotton soil of the Deccan, and today also we particularly sow cotton in the black soil that is found majorly in the Gujarat area and in some of the Maharashtra area as well. Then, whereas ragi, bajra, and other millets were grown in the lower Deccan, the people of the stone copper era in the eastern areas subsisted mostly on fish and rice, which is still a popular diet in that section of the nation. So we still know that in the eastern side of our country, if you go to Bengal, Odisha, Andhra Pradesh, you will find that the main meal of the day is the fish and the rice. And at that time also they used to eat that kind of meal, and it is very simple thing, because the geography defines the eating habits of any particular person. As the person is found in eastern side, they will be more relying on rice. The person found in the northwestern side, they will be more relying on the wheat and other particular grains that are relatable grains. So this is a thing that you can understand with the help of geography. Now let's talk about some characteristics of the Chalcolithic age more. So pottery. The inhabitants of the stone copper phase utilized many forms of pottery, one of which is known as black and red pottery and appears to have been commonly used at that time. Also popular was ochre colored earthenware. The potter's wheel was utilized and white linear motifs were painted. So different type of pottery making was also being introduced, and also they are being colored now. So we can see the modification in pottery making as well. And they are more based on potter's wheel, and they are more made on potter's wheel and utilized and different type of ways and painted in different type of ways. Rural settlements. So the Stone Age inhabitants were known for their rural communities and were unfamiliar with the charred bricks. That means particularly the brick making and all that. So they resided in mud brick built thatched homes. So basically their homes were made of mud bricks, and they did not know about how to create the burnt bricks. So that is why they basically using the mud bricks. This period also saw the emergence of societal inequities, with leaders living in rectangular mansions and commoners in round huts. So, a classification of settlement was also being done at that time, that leaders are living in big and large and rectangular mansions, and commoners, basically the particular people residing in the settlement, are living in round huts. Their villages consisted of more than 35 houses of different sizes, circular or rectangular in shape. The Chalcolithic economy is considered as a village economy. So this is basically the type of system. The Parta system was prevailing at that time also, and but the only classification was done on the basis of residing in a home. Now let's read more on this. So the Chalcolithic people were accomplished coppersmiths, and they are called coppersmiths because they are now getting to know that how to create more tools and utensils and other things from copper. They mastered the trade of copper smelting and were also skilled stone masons. They were well versed in spinning and weaving as well as the technique of making fabric. They did not, however, understand the art of writing. That is why we don't have any kind of written evidence of that time. So still the script and writing and all these things are not known to them. Worship, very important. The Chalcolithic sites have yielded little clay representation of earth deities. As a result, they may be said to have honored the mother goddess. Styled bull terracottas were from Malwa and Rajasthan reveal that the bull was used as a sacred cult. So that is a very simple thing, because earth was being taken as a mother goddess, and they knew that whatever they are getting, any kind of crop and harvesting, whatever they are doing is getting out of this earth. So that is why they are basically honoring the earth by making some earth based or clay based deities. And other than that, the terracottas from the Malwa and Rajasthan reveal that the bull was used as a sacred cult. And bull, why bull? Only because they were using this particular animal, domesticating it, and help that would be helping them in the agricultural purpose. Infant mortality. As evidenced by the burial of a significant number of youngsters in West Maharashtra, infant mortality was high among the Chalcolithic people. Despite being a food producing economy, infant mortality was quite high. The Chalcolithic social and economic system did not favor lifespan. So this is a common thing at that time, that infant mortality was way too high in place of Paleolithic and Mesolithic and Neolithic. There are two reasons certainly. One is during the Paleolithic, Mesolithic, and Neolithic, the population of these particular people of that era were not that much high. Even if they are particularly being, the infants are dying and being buried, and all that is not known, because the burying thing is not found to be present in the earlier stages. Now, in the particular this Chalcolithic age, they started burying their loved ones, and in case of that, the childrens are basically very vulnerable towards the diseases on this earth. And at that time, there were certainly not any number of healthcare or any type of things that time discovered that will help their infants to getting the disease particularly eradicated away from their body with the help of some kind of particularly floras and other things. So at that time these things were not known, so that is why the infant mortality rate was quite high in Chalcolithic age and with respect to the Paleolithic and Mesolithic era. Now let's read more about the characteristics. Jewelry. The Chalcolithic people loved ornamentation and decorating. The women wore shell and bone decorations and carried delicately crafted combs in their hair. They manufactured beads of semi-precious stones such as carnelian, statite, and quartz crystals. So whatever type of um, bright material was present at that time, the ornaments were made out of them, and women used to wear the shell and a bone decorations around their neck, and also a kind of a combs in their hair. And these type of things are being used as a jewelry. Now let's read more. So Ahar, the Banas Valley, southeastern Rajasthan. This region residents conducted smelting and metallurgy, and they provided copper implements to other modern societies. Rice was grown in this area. So this is the particular region where smelting and metallurgy was popularizing at that time. Gilund, that is Banas Valley, Rajasthan. So stone blade industry was discovered here. So basically they are now working towards making their tools more better and better. Daimabad, that is Ahmednagar, Maharashtra. So the Godavari Valley's most important Zorwe culture site. It is well known for recovering bronze items like as bronze rhinoceros, elephants, a two-wheeled chariot with a rider and a buffalo. So these particular things are discovered at this Daimabad site, and do remember it is found besides the Godavari Valley. Then Malwa, Madhya Pradesh. The settlements of Malwa culture were mostly located on the Narmada and its tributaries. It provides evidence of the richest Chalcolithic ceramics and also spindle whorls. That means basically the type of potteries and other things are made out of ceramics, and that is why the richest Chalcolithic ceramics were found at this particular place called Malwa, and it is found besides the Narmada Valley and its tributaries. Let's read more on this. Kayatha, that is Madhya Pradesh. So Kayatha culture settlements were largely concentrated around the Chambal River. Chambal River, we all know, particularly rises from the Madhya Pradesh, then flows from Rajasthan and then enters into the Uttar Pradesh. And its tributaries, mud plastered floors were discovered in houses. So particularly this also started plastering their floors in their houses, as well as pre-Harappan components in pottery and copper artifacts with sharp cutting edges have been discovered. That means basically the starting of the modifying their houses, their components, potteries, and other artifacts was started at that time. Then Chirand, Sinor, Sonpur, Bihar, and Mahisdal, West Bengal. These are the prominent Chalcolithic sites in these states. Songaon, Inamgaon, and Nasik, Maharashtra. Large mud houses with ovens and circular pit houses have been discovered here. This is really important, guys, that they have discovered the oven thing, and they started to know that how they can keep their food more intact and healthy and heatable. So these are the things that were discovered at these places. Then Navdatoli on Narmada. It was one of the largest Chalcolithic settlements in the country. It was spread over 10 hectares and cultivated almost all food grains. So do remember this one. This becomes important, that Navdatoli on Narmada, it becomes the one of the largest settlements of that time. Then Nevasa, that is Zorwe, Maharashtra, and Iran, Madhya Pradesh. These sites are known for their non-Harappan culture. So that is being done in these particular areas. Then further, painted grey ware, that is PGW. So painted grey ware, PGW, is a very fine, smooth, and even colored grey pottery with a thin fabric. It was made out of well-worked, very high quality clay. PGW seems to have been a deluxe ware, forming a very small percentage of the total pottery assemblage at the level at which these were found. The dates of the PGW culture range from 1100 to 500 and 400 BCE, and the sites show a wide geographical distribution stretching from the Himalayan foothills of the Malwa Plateau in central India and from the Bahawalpur region of Pakistan to Kaushambi near Allahabad in Uttar Pradesh. So this is the painted grey ware that have been discovered, and it is the well worked and very high quality clay of that time. Apart from the plains, it has been found in the valley in the hilly regions of Kumaon and Garhwal. Sporadic herds were found at a few places like Vaishali in Bihar, Lakhiopur in Sindh, and Ujjain in Madhya Pradesh. So these are some of the other type of pottery making and other type of pots that have been discovered in these areas that you can remember. And that's it in this session, guys. I hope you learned a lot of things with me in this session and gained great knowledge. I hope these all the things that we have learned about the pre-Paleolithic, Mesolithic, Neolithic, and Chalcolithic age, you can clearly understand all of them. I will meet you in the next session in which we will discuss more on these particular things, and further we will go towards important topics of ancient history. And till the time we meet, bye bye, take care everyone, and see you soon.